Today, more flight cancellations across the United States as airlines blame travel chaos on winter storms and an increase in virus infections, leaving them short-staffed. New data says shoppers spent more during this year's holiday shopping season than even before the pandemic. Our Phil Zoe hears from some shoppers in one luxury shopping district in New York City. And beware of pirated downloads of the new Spider-Man movie. If you download a certain file, it could open up your computer to cyber criminals. That and more coming up on NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. I'm Paul Graney. Flight cancellations continue due to bad weather and sick crews. Airlines canceling over 1,000 U.S. flights today alone, according to flight tracking site FlightAware. Scores of airline employees have been calling out sick since the Omicron variant emerged. That's left airlines short-staffed in recent days. About 4,000 flights were canceled over the weekend too, with airlines calling on the Biden administration to shorten the isolation period for vaccinated workers who get the virus. That's to help ease staffing shortages. But the Union for Flight Attendants has pushed back against that, saying the isolation period should remain 10 days. German airline Lufthansa today saying it's canceling 10% of its winter flights, about 33,000 flights, from mid-January to February 2022. Company CEO says it's because of a sharp drop in bookings. Delta Airlines as well today saying it recently stopped a flight to Shanghai Midair, returned it back to Seattle. It's after the Shanghai airport suddenly changed its pandemic requirements. Delta didn't give many details about the requirements, but an insider told the Epoch Times it requires foreign flight crews to quarantine for up to 2 weeks inside China. Insider also says Delta only learned about the new requirements after takeoff. Passengers left in limbo after the plane got turned back with expired COVID test results and expired U.S. visas, according to Chinese state media. China is dealing with new virus outbreaks in the country. It's locked down a city with 13 million people for the 5th day, but new case numbers still aren't coming down. In today's market news, major indexes all went up. S&P 500 index ending at a new record. Gained 65 points, about 1.4%. Dow rose 352 points, about 1%. The Nasdaq today adding 218 points, about 1.4%. German luxury cars are seeing record high prices. A Stifel Bank analysis showed that revenues per car at BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz rose by an average of about 25% from 2019. Mercedes-Benz has seen revenues per vehicle rise about 42% from around $43,000 to $61,000. Audi has seen a 25% increase from $52,000 to $65,000. But BMW only saw a modest 5.5% increase, likely because it had less of a semiconductor shortage than its rivals. The price hikes are likely caused by supply shortages and prioritizing more profitable models, all amid soaring consumer demand. Even when supply problems get better, executives say, they may just continue following this strategy. Luxury sports car maker Ferrari has signed a deal with a blockchain firm called Velas. Velas will become a partner of Ferrari's Formula One racing team from next season and create digital content for Ferrari fans. Velas has its own cryptocurrency, VLX. Since the news release, its value has surged more than 25%, according to data from CoinMarketCap. Velas will also be the title sponsor of the Ferrari Esports Series, that's a virtual Grand Prix championship. More than 60,000 people from around the world took part in its inaugural series in 2017. And Spider-Man's latest adventure continues to reach new heights at the box office. Here's the weekend's top 5 films.
And Kurt Warner, he's confident because he certainly has something to prove.
The football and faith film American Underdog kicked off in 5th place with $6.2 million. The King's Man premiered in 4th place. The British spy thriller garnered $6.3 million. It was a disappointing debut for The Matrix Resurrections. The fourth installment in the famed sci-fi franchise opened in third with $12 million.
I wanna run.
I want to hide.
The animated musical Sing 2 debuted in second place with $23.7 million in ticket sales.
You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Spider-Man: No Way Home ruled the box office for the second straight week with $81.5 million. The superhero adventure has hauled in a colossal $1 billion worldwide, the first film to do that in the pandemic era.
However, cyber criminals are trying to take advantage of Spider-Man's popularity. NTD's Eileen Richards says more.
Hello, Peter.
With Spider-Man: No Way Home being the first movie to breach $1 billion globally during the pandemic,
Oh, look at this. This is a good one.
criminals are taking advantage of its popularity. Reason Labs, a leading cybersecurity firm, discovered cryptocurrency mining malware disguised as a torrent of the movie.
So the Spider-Man movie is downloaded off the internet by an unsuspecting victim, and then the malware is then what's known as piggybacked on this.
Brian Horning is the founder of Exact IT Solutions. Horning says these types of malware are very good at hiding.
When somebody's using the mouse or keyboard, the malware stops running, so somebody doesn't notice, the computer being slower and things like that. And then when you're not using the computer, that's when the mining software starts using your RAM, your CPU.
Alex Carabray is the head of growth at decentralized search engine Presearch. Carabray says the malware mines Monero, which is known for its anonymity.
There's a little bit of controversy around Monero because you don't actually know what the total supply is. But the added benefit versus Bitcoin is that it's private. And so, if you want to avoid taxes or do some other kind of shady stuff, that's, the protocol to use.
Scott Schober is the author of Cybersecurity is Everybody's Business. Schober says signs you may have this malware include your computer slowing down and getting hot, as well as having a higher electric bill. Schober says the best way to deal with this problem is to back up your files and
do a wipe of your machine, wipe it to get everything off. And the reason I say that is because the file is actually hidden. It's in a directory hidden, so you're not going to be able to easily find it and just delete a file.
Reason Labs, the firm that found the malware, is still trying to figure out exactly where it came from. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
And U.S. retail sales rose 8.5% during this year's holiday shopping season compared to last year, according to a report released by MasterCard on Sunday. It's also higher than 2019 before the pandemic. Increase was powered by a rush to stores amid supply chain concerns, as well as soaring e-commerce sales. E-commerce sales jumped 11% as consumers enjoy the ease of browsing and buying from the comfort of their homes. Holiday online purchases made up almost 21% of total retail sales this year. Consumers buying much more clothing, jewelry, and electronics while spending less on dining out, travel, and leisure activities. And just because Christmas is over doesn't mean the shopping is. NTD's Phil Zoe went to one of the newest and most luxurious shopping centers in the United States to find out more.
The shops at Hudson Yards were packed on Monday. It's one of the newest shopping centers in New York City, with a mix of over 100 luxury brands and restaurants.
It feels amazing.
Some shoppers are looking for after-Christmas deals like couple David and Petra that I spoke with.
Yeah, so we were just scoping out, seeing if there were any after-Christmas deals, looking for some running shoes for her.
Maybe I can get some new things here, and also shoes are cheaper here, things are cheaper here, some kind of clothes, so I was thinking maybe I can make a good deal.
They're starting to spend less online and more in person.
This year has been a little bit less online than last year, just since things are opened up, so you can actually go grab some things or go actually to the place and shop a little bit more than last year.
It's a great experience. I really like to go to more places again and really feel Christmas again and not be just home with just a few people.
I also spoke to shopper Carrie, who's visiting from Florida.
Last year I did everything online, everything Amazon. This year I got out in person and I did some shopping. I like to touch and feel the things that I buy. So Amazon was a little impersonal, and I just like being out in the shops in the stores, seeing all the decorations and the lights, it brings a lot more cheer to the season.
She says it's not always about expensive gifts and materials.
The holidays is a time to spread love and cheer, and it doesn't really matter about the gift giving, but it does make people feel good, so even a hug will go a long way.
Phil Zhou, NTD News, New York.
And at Apple, at least 50 employees in 3 states walked out on Christmas Eve. Organizers say the workers want better sick leave and pandemic hazard pay, among some other things. The group is called Apple Together. It says Apple's retail workers have extremely limited sick leave, and part-timers have to choose whether to go in sick or go unpaid. But Apple told HuffPost that all workers get paid sick leave for any symptoms resembling the CCP virus. Apple Together is made up of current and former Apple employees, called on people not to buy Apple products on Christmas Eve. And Mark Zuckerberg got a welcome Christmas present as the Oculus app took the #1 spot in the Apple App Store Christmas Day. The Oculus virtual reality headset is used to immerse yourself in Horizon World's metaverse. Zuckerberg says he wants his company to be known as a metaverse company in the future, not a social media company. He even changed Facebook's corporate name to Meta. Meta doesn't disclose how many headsets it sells, and it's no longer #1 in the App Store, but the top ranking over Christmas indicates it was a popular Christmas present this year. Some teens are reportedly convinced they have a rare mental disorder, but it's not because a professional told them. TikTok videos did. Here's NTD's Evelyn Lee with more.
TikTok is feeding some teens videos about rare mental disorders. The Wall Street Journal reports it's making some think they have those disorders. Clinical psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman says that makes it hard for professionals to help them.
If they come to a professional after, it's very hard for them to give up the name, the diagnosis that they have given to themselves.
Now there are videos with the hashtag dissociative identity disorder, and they have over 700 million views, but it only affects about 1% of the U.S. adult population.
The psychological object of being a teenager is to try on different identities. That's what you do to come out with one that ultimately you feel comfortable with. So by watching hours and hours of TikTok videos with all of these different psychiatric disorders, it's not abnormal to identify with 1 or 2 symptoms here and there.
Lieberman says that doesn't mean that they have the whole disorder. But now many videos show young people as they seem to switch from one personality to another. Dr. Brianne Slay, a psychologist from Kansas City, says she was shocked to see how many videos there are about it on TikTok because of how rare it is. But why is it that some young adults tend to cling to a certain diagnosis?
That teens and young adults are using certain abnormalities as social currency. In other words, to get attention.
Lieberman says it also gives them an excuse for things they didn't get right or not being responsible. She adds that also many teens don't get enough attention from their parents. Lieberman says that if a teen comes to their parents with a self-diagnosis, they shouldn't waste time before convincing them to see a professional. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
We reached out to TikTok for comment, but haven't heard back. And Chinese regulators have released new draft rules for domestic companies who want to list overseas. Comes as offshore listings of Chinese firms dropped sharply this year, think Didi. The new rules may ease the regulatory uncertainty, but analysts say there are still open questions about enforcement and compliance criteria. The Chinese regulator says companies need to follow the regime's rules on cybersecurity and data security. It also says the listing can be stopped if it's deemed a threat to national security. The draft rules didn't ban the VIE structure. That's a popular way for Chinese firms to skirt domestic rules to list abroad. Alibaba and JD.com both listed overseas this way. And in a sign the Chinese Communist Party is worried about the country's slowing economy, is preparing a $250 billion stimulus package and rolling out new fiscal policies. Local governments will get $250 billion to help spur economic growth. Businesses will also see tax cuts and lower fees. The idea is to give them more money to invest, quote, appropriately in their operations. China's economic numbers are unreliable and often politically tainted, but even official numbers show the country is struggling to recover from the pandemic. Its huge property market is deflating, and zero COVID lockdown policies are hampering consumer spending and hurting production. Elon Musk is facing some pressure in China again, too, as the regime complains some of his satellites got in its way. China told the UN that it had to take emergency measures on 2 separate occasions to prevent its space station hitting Starlink satellites. Musk's SpaceX has deployed nearly 1,900 satellites to serve its Starlink broadband network. It's planning to launch more. China's space station hasn't been in orbit a year. SpaceX hasn't commented on the complaints, though. With that, we'll take a quick break, but still to come. The world's most powerful telescope blasts off. We take a look at the historic space launch and what scientists will be able to do with it. And one family receives a very special gift for Christmas, a new home from Habitat for Humanity. But what makes this one special? That and more coming up on NTD Business.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but millions of you out there. Before all this started, I had already written in my memoir, I dedicate this book to anyone that's looking for hope. Well, right now, we're all looking for hope. I believe that my story is going to bring inspiration and hope to everyone. By the time you're done reading my book, you will believe that with God, all things are possible. To thank you all for your support, I'm offering some of my best prices ever on MyPillow products, including this exclusive bundle. You get my book and these 5 MyPillows. They all have beautiful scenes and verses from the Bible, such as Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. This 6-pack bundle is regularly $219. Now it's just $99.98 and free shipping with your promo code. Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below. Thank you and God bless.
Oh, hey, doesn't it feel like there's communists everywhere? In fact, the Chinese Communist Party has been subverting America from every angle. So whether it's compromising our politicians, controlling Hollywood, manipulating Wall Street, or infiltrating our schools, they have stopped at nothing to take down America. And I believe that in order for us to not become like China, we need citizens who know the truth. So go on over to GetEpic.com, stay informed with a subscription to the Epic Times, and you will get instant access to this infographic.
Shall we begin?
People are starving, sir. They're unable to buy a simple loaf of bread. Can you make any exception to the mark 666?
None. If you don't get the mark, you don't eat. It's that simple. My goal has never changed. People will bow down to me or they will die.
Welcome back. If you're a homeowner, you'll probably face higher home premiums for the new year for your insurance. According to the Insurance Information Institute, the average homeowner may see a 4% increase in the cost of their homeowner's policy for 2022. Since 2017, premium rates are up more than 11% on average, which means they're rising faster than inflation. Factors such as natural disasters and rising costs for raw materials like lumber and supply chain issues are making the replacement costs for a home soar. In some states, insurance costs are rising faster than others. Colorado experienced a 21% increase in average annual premiums from 2017 to 2020, while Texas homeowners saw an 18% spike in the same time frame. If you're thinking about investing, those discounted Lego sets might be the way to go. Researchers at a Russian university looked at the rates of return when it came to collecting toys, and they found high-value collectibles proved to be a better investment than gold, art, even financial securities. They noted retired Lego sets that sold on secondary markets saw prices grow by 11% annually. That's faster than the rates for gold, stocks, and bonds. According to the researchers, those who invest in Legos long-term can yield positive returns 2 to 3 years after retirement. It's an idea. And the new historic space launch will allow scientists to see deeper into space than ever before. Here's the story.
Over the holiday weekend, eyes were on the skies, not just for you-know-who, but also for a history-making launch as a rocket carrying the world's most powerful telescope blasted off from a European spaceport. The $10 billion James Webb Telescope is the long-awaited successor to the Hubble and is equipped with the largest folding mirror NASA has ever built, capable of extending to over 21 feet in length. NASA says the telescope's unique design will allow it to look deeper into the universe than ever before. The telescope will travel for about a month before settling into orbit roughly 1 million miles from Earth. After the launch, NASA and the European Space Agency tweeted, calling it the beginning of a new exciting decade and an awesome Christmas present to space science.
And a Virginia family received a special Christmas gift this year. Habitat for Humanity built them a new 3D printed home. This 1,200 square foot concrete house was built in just 12 hours. Habitat for Humanity partnered with 3D printing company Alquist earlier this year for the project. April Stringfield moved in with a 13-year-old son just in time for the holidays. She also received a personal 3D printer so she can reprint anything she might need, like an electrical outlet or cabinet knobs. It's the first 3D printed home built for Habitat for Humanity, but the group plans to make more. And Harry's Bar in Paris, celebrating the 100th birthday of the Bloody Mary. It's believed the classic cocktail was invented there in 1921. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
It's a cocktail bartender Dante Agnelli could make with his eyes closed. The Bloody Mary is believed to have been invented right here, on the counter of Harry's Bar in Paris, 100 years ago.
So it's a classic drink, make it directly on the glasses, so few pins of salt and pepper, then a few dash of Tabasco, a splash of Worcester sauce, same for the lemon juice.
Frenchman Fernand Petiot first made the drink in 1921. The drink is so closely associated with Harry's Bar that people come from around the world to sip on one of the 12,000 Bloody Marys served here every year. Owner Franz Arthur Macalone knows all the different stories that could explain the origin of the cocktail's name.
There's a Hemingway story. He was I think it was just before getting married, and he was dating somebody called Mary, and he didn't want to smell alcohol in his breath, so he asked for something with like a thick juice, being tomato juice, and saying Bloody Mary while drinking it. You also have the Queen Mary, the Bloody Mary in England.
100 years since its invention, the recipe remains unchanged. Harry's patrons over the past century have included writers Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
That's the latest business updates for today, but you can still catch NTD Evening News with Chenny Wu. It's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, it's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.